So the first step for 3.8 is to write your thesis statement. Your thesis statement is the main point of your essay, and it answers your line of inquiry. So let's talk about the what your essay is going to include by the time you're done with it. It is going to have 5 paragraphs. You're going to have an introduction, you're going to have 3 body paragraphs, and then you're going to have a conclusion. So in the introduction, you have 3 parts. You have the hook, you have background information, and you have a thesis statement. But I think it's best to start writing the thesis statement before you write your hook and your background information, and I'll explain to you why. First of all, what is a thesis? It's the central argument you make in an essay or a speech. It's arguable, it's specific, and it's based on evidence. You don't want it to be too obvious, like Cooper is a high school. Yeah, nobody's going to argue with you on that. Cooper is a high school, right? But if you were to say, Cooper does a better job preparing students for the future than many other Minnesota schools, then you have something that is arguable, specific, based on evidence. So also keep in mind that your thesis statement needs to be based on textual evidence. And so if your argument doesn't actually connect to the book that you read and that you're writing about and the examples that you found, it's not going to hold up as a thesis. So here's a good example of a thesis that we wrote in the last, for the first unit, from A Raisin in the Sun. The character Ruth Younger from A Raisin in the Sun won't give up on her dream to build a better home for her family and uses the symbol of wanting a new home to symbolize wanting better for her family. This is arguable, specific, based on evidence, not too obvious. All of those things that we want to see. So thesis statements are often based off of themes from literature. For our summative assessment, your thesis will be answering a question connected to one of the 3 theme topics that we had. So what is a theme? It's a central message of a text. And what we want to look at really is, what is the writer saying about the theme that we looked at in this book? We looked at these 3 themes or topics: growing up in the margins, standing up to oppression, and the subjectivity of truth. So now that you've finished reading the book and you've seen how this theme operates, you have to determine what Peter Razor's point was about each theme. So if we go again back to A Raisin in the Sun, we traced these 3 themes, and we determined that what Lorraine Hansberry was saying about each theme could maybe be summed up as those. But how about in While the Locusts Slept? Maybe we could say, growing up in the margins, the point that he's making about that topic is that growing up without any power can make a person anxious and afraid as an adult. Standing up to oppression, Peter's pushed back until he finally fights back. The subjectivity of truth, the truth can be manipulated by those in power. What else do you think he's trying to say about these themes in the book? So we want to make sure that the theme is a full sentence. It's the main point of a text. It's what the author wants us to understand. Here's another one that could be used for subjectivity of truth. No one person holds all of the truth. So think about what point Razor is making about the theme that you're investigating, because it's with your line of inquiry: growing up in the margins, standing up to oppression, or the subjectivity of truth. All right, now it's time to do it yourself. Write your thesis statement by using the sentence frame. And you can do this right in your packet. While the Locusts Slept by Peter Razor communicates the message that, here's mine: the truth can be manipulated by those in power. Now it's time to write yours. Good luck.